Thank you to the Secretary General of the African Radical Economic Transformation Movement, Comrade Nkosazana Shezi. I also recognize the Treasurer General of the African Radical Economic Transformation Movement, Dr. Job Moganedi. And I recognize especially the representatives of the various regions and provinces of the African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance that came here to be present at this very important historical press conference. I also welcome the members of the media who are here and thank all of them for being present and for reporting on this important statement that is being made by Areta. Let me say by introduction that this is an incredibly important intervention that is being made by the African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance in order to address the challenges that we are faced with in our beloved country, South Africa. It is incredibly important because we believe that what we are doing today is an indication of what we will be able to do in terms of reshaping the political landscape in South Africa. The African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance, right from its inception, said, we want to reshape the political landscape. We want to bring a transformation that will mean that a left progressive government will be in place. A government that is indeed committed to the people, and that the only way in which that can be achieved is through unity. So up there on the center slogan that we have today is the slogan of unity with a fist. Because we're not talking just about any kind of unity. We are talking about radical unity for radical economic transformation. Members of the National Working Board, it is my pleasure to present now to the representatives of Areta present here and to the media the Areta announcement in pursuit of forging left progressive unity towards the 2024 election and beyond. Today is a very important occasion for myself as President of the Radical Economic Transformation Alliance and for the members of the National Working Board who are here with me. Together with the members of Areta, who are here as representatives of the various provinces and regions where Areta established structures over the past 10 months. I must say, we are extremely proud of the work that had been done and the presence of Areta throughout the country. In the very short period of just 10 months since our formation, we have signed up a large number of members and established a presence throughout the country. Our media presence and the mature manner in which we have participated in the political discourse in our country and made a principled and ideologically sound contribution to what radical economic transformation truly stands for and how it should be implemented in a practical and community-orientated manner truly belies the short period of our existence. I'm reminded of a conversation that I had with the Commander-in-Chief of the Economic Freedom Fighters, Comrade Julius Malema, when we were walking hand in hand, marching through the streets of Pretoria. Comrade Shezi, you will remember that very well, to the union buildings and the residence of the sellout President Ramaphosa during the national shutdown on the 20th of March 2023. When I congratulated the Commander-in-Chief on what he and the rest of the EFF leadership had achieved with a momentous growth and the presence of the EFF throughout the country, he said to me, and I quote, "Thank you. It is no child's play to start a new party. One needs courage to do so. And you guys in Areta are doing well because you have courage." Close quotation. I greatly appreciated those words of support and encouragement. The Commander-in-Chief was absolutely correct about the courage that the members of Areta have shown. And this announcement today is first and foremost an articulation of that courage and a victory for the members and the supporters of Areta. I welcome the Deputy Secretary General of Areta, Comrade Bongi Mbanjwa, who has just joined us. Comrade Bongi, it's good to see you here. Thanks for being present. When we launched Areta on the 23rd of February 2023, we stated in our media statement that our beloved country is trapped in the midst of a prolonged and increasingly deepening socio-economic and moral crisis. We noted that this harsh reality is made even worse by the fact that the long-suffering people of South Africa had high hopes of true and full liberation when our first democratic elections took place on the 27th of April, 1994. However, with the sobering wisdom of the hindsight of the past 30 years, we now know that those high hopes have been betrayed. We referred to how that betrayal can be traced back right to the Kudesa negotiations and the first administration of the ANC, and even the new liberal economic policies that were embraced, and at an alarming rate, increasingly strengthened up to the current juncture. In analyzing this wanton betrayal, we noted that neoliberal economic orthodoxy became ingrained into the African National Congress way of doing things. Under the administration of Cyril Ramaphosa, the neoliberal economic project became strengthened and implemented without any restraint. It degenerated into a well-planned, full-scale sellout project, culminating in the total betrayal of all the high hopes of the long-suffering people of our nation. The disastrous consequences of this are glaringly evident in the total economic collapse of our country, as symbolized by increasing load shedding. This included the destruction and selling off of private ownership of critical state-owned enterprises, such as SAA, Denel, Sasol, Armscor, Petro SA, and the destruction of our rail network. The list of devastation and destruction is far too long to exhaustively elaborate on in this statement. But suffice to say that we are now truly teetering on the edge of the deepest precipice, with Eskom having been deliberately mismanaged to the point where it is permanently on the verge of collapse. The neoliberal economic policies being implemented by the Treasury have resulted in the disaster of no growth, no job creation, and an increasingly totally unsustainable international debt burden. All of this is accompanied by the unsurpassed theft of state resources and the impunity with which the government elite flouts the law, as most aptly demonstrated by the Phala Phala Farm criminal saga that President Ramaphosa is embroiled in. The reality is that the betrayal of South Africa by the ANC as the governing party is now complete and has reached the point of no return, with a total ideological and moral hollowing out of the ANC under Ramaphosa as his acolytes in the ANC has led to a situation that the organization sadly died and can no longer be an instrument for good and the advancement of the genuine and the legitimate liberation ideals of the people of our country. 10 months ago, Areta said in our launch media statement, and I quote again, "The carcass of the now dead ANC has become a Trojan horse for new liberalism and the wholesale subjugation and exploitation of the majority of black, poor South Africans." In order to effectively challenge this unmitigated disaster, and truly, members of Areta, it is an unmitigated disaster. A united front for the pursuit of economic freedom and land repossession is absolutely essential. 10 months ago at our launch, Areta stated that this will only be possible to be achieved if we can forge unity among all the left political parties and progressive forces. In order to achieve that objective, we have, as we stated in our launch media statement, promised to work tirelessly to forge a united front with other like-minded left progressive parties and civil society organizations in order to save our country from the terrible disaster that has befallen us. And we furthermore emphasize that such a united front will have to be based on a minimum program of action with clear, practical and implementable timeframes that will ensure the economic empowerment of the majority of black, especially African, South Africans. In order to advance such a minimum progressive platform, we propose the Areta 10-point plan to save our country as a realistic starting point to advance from, because the 10-point plan advances the essential objectives of what radical economic transformation aims to achieve. We are also live today on the X space, and Comrade Nkosha, I recall how we discussed this 10-point plan. The 10-point plan was not something which a few of us thought up somewhere in a closed room. It was the result of proper consultation. Indeed. The X space where we discussed that 10-point plan had no less than 25,000 participants. So it was a representative document that we finally tabled at our launch. This 10-point plan is also Areta's compass in ensuring that we remain ideologically rooted and do not divert from what the original objectives of the National Democratic Revolution, the NDR, were. In our engagements of South Africans throughout the country, as we were explaining the 10-point plan and recruiting membership, it became increasingly clear that our people are thirsting for honesty and practical, achievable plans and engagements that will ultimately empower them to achieve the liberation ideals that they dreamt about and made so many sacrifices for. I welcome all the comrades of Areta that have just joined us. I would actually want to ask the media to show the numbers that are here, because so often on social media, people ask me, where are the numbers? Where are the numbers of the African Radical Economic Transformation Alliance? In this hall today, we simply have representatives, regional and provincial representatives of Areta. And yet the 100 seats that we prepared for that has turned out to be not enough. So anyone who wants to question the membership of Areta, the numbers that we have been able to accumulate over this short 10-month period, let them have a look. Let them see what just the coordinators, the regional managers of Areta look like. So as we engaged in this process for unity, it became evident to us that the basic ideals contained in the 10-point plan are largely compatible with the ideals that a number of other left progressive political parties stand for. And that they are actually much more than what unites us than what divides us.
Mandla.
I'll repeat that. There is much more that unites us than what divides us.
Viva unity, viva.
And this only strengthened the conviction that it is possible for all these left parties. And listen to this, my dear comrades. It is possible for all these left parties to converge on a minimum program of action platform.
Yes.
And to contest the upcoming elections as one united force.
Mandla.
And we asked ourselves, in exasperation, why we continue to exist as small splinter left parties, when there are evidently no ideologically sound reasons for these divisions to persist. And the only logical conclusion that we could come to was that the divisions between us are not ideological at all, but they are sometimes perpetuated because of personal ambitions and power-mongering. Because people want to be called presidents.
Yes.
Because they want to see their faces on posters on lampposts. It is commitment to selfish self, not commitment to sound ideological ideals that divide us and pit us against each other. Ours cannot be a project driven by vanity of some leaders among us, for whom it is more important, as I said, to be called presidents, than to ensure the best chance of success to implement the radical economic transformation and thus positively transform the fate of our long-suffering people. The very reason, the reason d'etre of the existence of Areta is to make a positive, revolutionary contribution to the full liberation of all South Africans, specifically Black and African.
Mandla.
That precludes us from participating in any selfishness or folly that will be divisive and perpetuate the continuing oppression and suffering of our people. Comrades, the logic of this understanding is relentless. And in practice, it is correct implementation. That means that we must take the lead not only in words, but in action. We must walk the talk.
Yes.
To pursue the unity of the left
Mandla.
that we have right from our inception committed ourselves to so unreservedly and fully to. In doing so, we need to swallow our pride.
Yes.
We need to get rid of our egos. And we must do what is best and in the interests of the suffering masses. The membership of Areta are poor. I always say, we as Areta are poor. I know the challenges that it meant for you as members of Areta to travel from your various places of residence to come here today. I know it's not easy, because if we ask today how many of you are employed, so very few will be able to say we are employed.
Yeah.
So it is a challenge, but you make that commitment. You come. You travel with the taxis. You battle to be here, but you are here. And for that we thank you. Now, comrades, after 10 months of various engagements with different left progressive political parties to sell the idea of the unity of the left, as Areta we came to the conclusion that we are running out of time to achieve our unity objective. And that deliberate action is required now in order to prevent failure and a perpetuation of all the unnecessary, ideologically indefensible divisions and splinter groups in the ranks of the left. As Areta, we said to ourselves, Sekonjalo. The time is now for us to lead by example and to take the bold initiative instead of just talking unity. To us, the only reasonable and logical thing to do is to unite before the upcoming national and provincial elections under one strong, already existing political party, in order to present the voters of South Africa with one clear, unequivocal choice: to vote against the continuation of the sellout disaster that the African National Congress presents, or even worse, a right-wing coalition as represented by the so-called Moonshot Pact.
Hands in the moonshot.
To us, it makes absolutely no sense to talk about electoral pacts after, and electoral pacts of the left after the elections have taken place. The damage and confusion that a myriad of fractional parties with all their logos and impossibly long ballot paper will have been done. Such a scenario will most certainly be to the detriment of our objective to forge a strong and plausible united left alternative. And many votes will be lost because of that confusion. However, we do respect the right of other parties to take these issues to their structures and to propose different various models of unity. In spite of any tactical differences, we are happy to report that the principle of unity of the left has been accepted by all those we have interacted with. I often tell the story a couple of months ago when we united around the table with leaders of various political parties of the left. And when it was my turn to speak, I said, "Comrades, I want to ask you one question. And please, you must just answer yes or no to these questions that I'm going to ask. Are any of you here against the return of the land to the people? Expropriation of land without compensation?"
No?
They all said, "No, we are for it."
Mm.
I said, "Are any of you against the nationalization of the South African Reserve Bank and bring an end to private shareholding?" "No, we are not against it. We just come to an end."
Yeah?
I said, "So are
What-
any of you against a state bank?"
English.
"No, we're not." I said, "Wonderful, comrades." But then I must ask myself, why are there so many parties around this table? Why are we not together? So when we say we accept that there may be different strategies taken by different parties, we in Areta are regardless very clear that we believe the truly correct, real strategy is to unite now,
Yes.
before the elections, as a united force. Why do I say this? Because it is already evident that the South African voting public are deeply hurt by the betrayal that they have suffered under the 30 years of selling out by the African National Congress. South Africans are truly tired of empty promises and to be treated as voting fodder. The steep decline in the percentage of eligible voters who registered and actually voted during the last national and local government elections reflects this sad reality. The challenges to get South Africans to register and eventually to actually vote were very evident recently now during the voter registration drive and weekend. The only realistic way that respects the voters of South Africa is to present them in an honest manner with a united, progressive alternative before, I underline it, I'm shouting because I can't show you the bold words on my statement, before the elections, so that they once again can be grasped by the imagination of the possibility of true freedom, and that their hopes can be rekindled. Many votes will be lost to the three horsemen of the apocalypse that it will lead to if we go for division, namely cynicism, apathy, and confusion. Once these votes are lost, they are irretrievably lost and will not be regained by some unrealistic hope of a vague regrouping of the left alliance after the elections. under conditions that will be far less conducive to the emergence of a united left progressive government that can unseat the reactionary right-wing forces of white monopoly capitalism, black comprador capitalism, and the international imperialist masters. Voters on the ground have told us in no uncertain terms that the proliferation of so many parties preaching essentially the same message of radical change is a source of confusion, which for many weaken, not strengthen, but weaken the message. The idea of creating a new political party, or even of resuscitating an existing liberation struggle loved name or entity into the new format of a registered political party, in order to unite the progressive left behind us, is at this late stage, only a few months before the elections, not realistic at all.
True.
Even if this was a viable option, which certainly it is not, there is no time left to be able to do so. At best, it will only add yet another name, yet another logo to the already far too long list of splinter left political parties that will only contribute to the further confusion and cynicism amongst the already tired and exasperated voting public. This issue can be revisited after the crucial 2024 election. But now, we must work for unity.
Unity.
The only realistic option for the progressive left to unite with the hope to succeed is therefore to reduce, not enlarge, reduce the number of fractional splinter political parties and to unite behind one strong existing left political party that has proved itself to have the political infrastructure and indeed will be able to do the organization and capability to muster the left progressive vote in South Africa into one united voting bloc. In fact, Areta strongly believes that the most sensible and revolutionary thing to do is for all the myriad of left splinter parties to unite behind one strong left political party that has proved itself to be capable of bringing out the massive left progressive vote, especially the youth vote, that represents the largest percentage of the voters in South Africa. That party is the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF. Under the capable leadership of the Commander-in-Chief, Comrade Julius Malema of the EFF, and the capable leadership of his Central Command team. I'm very happy to see at the back of the hall, as we were talking, the provincial and regional representatives and leadership of the EFF has walked in and are sitting. You're welcome. I'm very impressed with how the EFF does things. You know, when I engaged with the Commander-in-Chief and with the Deputy President, Comrade Floyd Shivambu, they said to me, we are not going to go for a lot of blitz and glitz. We want this announcement that you are making to have integrity. We are not Fikile Mbalula. We do not run around dishing out T-shirts
What a thug.
just like that and create the impression, even amongst people who are not even members of the party.
What a thug.
So the leadership of the EFF came today and they said to me, we are not going to bring a lot of T-shirts for us to dress and undress here in front of the camera. We will in due course present T-shirts. But they said to me, we will bring you a cap to put on at the end of your media statement. So I'm waiting to put on that cap at the end of the media statement. So as you can hear, comrades, the national work organizational structures in order to muster the most effective election campaign under the leadership and the logo of the EFF. The message and appeal to our members is clear. Look also wherever you are for the EFF branch in your ward and join. We are not joining because we can't join the EFF as a bloc or a faction. We are doing so as individuals, but coming from Areta. And we, of course, subject ourselves to its democratic processes and its constitution. We will, for purposes of this election, where we have to work day and night, join the ground forces of the EFF and campaign without any personal expectations, except, and this should be more than enough, comrades, the ushering in of economic freedom for our people. So, comrades, in order for this approach to be effective, there will be no half measures. The Areta membership will join the EFF and will become one united progressive left force. Only the EFF logo will appear on the ballot papers. And in line with the careful analysis that I've presented, there will thus be no confusion. And it's very important, comrades. This is for me the crux of the matter. Only the EFF logo as representative of the left progressive forces for radical economic transformation will be on the ballot paper. Because this is in line with our analysis that I've just presented. Thus, we will not contribute to any confusion. And the South African voter will be given a clear, unequivocal opportunity to vote for the EFF and for the revolutionary progressive policy program that it represents. That program is clearly set out in the founding manifesto of the EFF and the 7 cardinal pillars of the economic freedom, which we fully embrace and support. Go and listen. Read out to yourself the 10-point plan of Areta. Put this 7 pillars next to it and understand. It's okay, comrade, don't try to add it. And understand that there is no difference. We are together. We are the same. There is no difference between that program and the program that is extrapolated on in the 10-point plan. Truly, comrades, there is no other option. Anything less will lack integrity. If we are truly committed to bring a left political program into power that can fundamentally transform the lives of all South Africans, overwhelmingly black and specifically African. In taking this decisive step, we call on all the other progressive political parties to seriously consider also doing the same. And I'm serious when I say this. We call on them to do the same for the sake of the future of our country and for the sake of the salvation of our people. We call with humble urgency on Comrade Vuyo Zungulu, the President and the leadership of the members of the African Transformation Movement, the ATM, General Bantu Lemisa, the President, and the leadership and members of the United Democratic Movement, the UDM, Comrade Mzwanele Niehaus, the President and leadership and membership of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, the PAC, Comrade Nevis Rekema, the President and the leadership and members of the Azanian People's Organization, AZAPU, Comrade Ace Magashule, the President and leadership and membership of the African Congress for Transformation Act, Comrade Themba Godi, the President and the leadership and members of the African People's Convention, APC, and all other political parties and left formations in accordance with the unassailable revolutionary logic of this decision by Areta, to present to the structures and membership the strong possibility to unite with the EFF so that we can finally present a united left and progressive option for economic freedom and total liberation to the people of South Africa and our continent as a whole. At the barest minimum, we call on all these organizations to engage among themselves, to agree on mutual cooperation during the forthcoming election period, to attend each other's major events, to spread the message of unity and to share resources such as party agents and other means to police the possible corruption and vote stealing by the desperate ANC and its allies. These forces of the left must avoid attacking each other during the election campaign. I'm going to repeat the sentence again, comrades, and I want you to clap as hard as you can when I say it. These forces of the left must avoid attacking each other during the election campaign. We do not have all the ill-begotten money that the ANC has when what they get from their white monopoly capitalist masters.
Yes.
Remember, Cyril Ramaphosa was given over R1 billion to pay in bribes in order to become the president of the ANC in 2017. And it was even worse last year in the 56th National Conference of the ANC in 2022. So we do not have that kind of money. So the money that we have must be pooled together. We must unite. We mustn't do things unnecessary where we duplicate things. We must resource in such a way that the money is there for the people. Because the contributions that go to left progressive political parties, those monies that members pay for membership, from their pockets which are empty anyhow, cannot be wasted. It must now be made to work to bring an end to this sellout ANC government. We furthermore, and this is a very important call I'm going to make now, we furthermore make a special call on our beloved leader and father, President Jacob Zuma, to refrain from supporting the ANC in any way whatsoever during the upcoming elections.
Here comes from
We appeal to
Yeah.
not to campaign for the ANC
Yes.
and to support our courageous clarion call for this unity among all progressive forces of the left and of Africans in particular. The first common demand must be for land expropriation without compensation. The return of the stolen land, comrades, the return of the stolen land cannot be negotiable.
Yes. Enough.
In conclusion, we must reiterate our firm belief that there's no salvation possible for the erstwhile liberation movement, now sell-out African National Congress.
Yes.
That thing is from the top to the bottom rotten.
What
To the core. It cannot be saved.
What's that?
All that means is for it to be removed from power and for its sadly disgraced corpse to be buried.
Amandla mpangazitha.
Recently, the ANC has been voting with other right-wing forces such as the DA, the Freedom Front, and the IFP.
Yes.
So, those are their bedmates. They deserve each other. All that remains is for the ANC to formally join the Moonshot Pact of Helen Zille, Madame Zille, and John Steenhuisen, which is the brainchild of the Oppenheimers and the Stellenbosch Mafia headed by Johann Rupert.
Yes.
For us as members of Areta, the only sensible and practical way to do this is to join the largest and most organized formation of the progressive left in South Africa, which is the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF. In doing so, we will empower the people of South Africa to also now finally unite without any distractions and confusion behind one powerful, progressive force that can finally bring the ideals of true and full liberation to fruition that so many South Africans have sacrificed their lives for. In the names of Oliver Tambo, Chris Hani, Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela, Helen Joseph, the Lion of the Midlands, Harry Gwala, Robert Subukwe, Yafta Masemole, Bayer Snowdeer, Solomon Mashangu, and the many other martyrs and heroes of our liberation struggle. Let us now, once and for all, empower the people of South Africa to next year impeach the sellout ANC at the ballot box. Impeach the sellout ANC and liberate themselves.
Mandla.
One united progressive left. Say it with me, comrades. One united progressive left. One EFF. One EFF. One liberated South Africa. Forward to economic freedom in our lifetime. Luta continua. A luta continua. Viva EFF! Viva! Viva! I thank you, comrades. I now want to request Comrade Chair, Comrade Shizzy, for the leaders of the EFF who have been delegated to come here, to come to the fore. Can those leaders who've been sent here by the Commander-in-Chief come into business?